Welcome back to Align Hot and Loaded, the podcast where we talk about how to build the life of your dreams. I'm Chloe.
And I'm Heather.
And today we're going to be talking about something that people hear all the time, but not everyone really understands. We're going to be talking about our vibration. You hear phrases like raise your vibration, or you can sense when someone has good energy, but we're going to talk about what that actually means.
I'm so excited to be talking about this today because our vibration affects everything in our whole life. Vibration isn't just a spiritual idea. Your life right now is not just the result of circumstances. It's the result of the frequency you're living in every single day. Everything in the universe, every atom, every molecule, every cell in your body is vibrating at a certain frequency. Your thoughts vibrate, your emotions vibrate, and your nervous system is constantly sending signals into the world. And when you understand how vibration works, you begin to understand why certain people, opportunities, and experiences keep showing up in your life.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. When we say vibration, what are we actually talking about?
Well, at the most fundamental level, everything in the universe is energy vibrating at a certain frequency. Atoms are constantly moving and vibrating, including us. We are 99.99% energy vibrating at a certain frequency. Our vibration is, in essence, our spirit. It's our eternal essence. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It only changes form.
Yep. So the difference between like something solid and something not solid is just the speed of that vibration.
So even objects that appear solid, like this table, are actually made up of atoms vibrating at specific frequencies. So the denser something is, the lower the frequency it vibrates at. And the faster something vibrates, the higher its frequency. Now, here's where it becomes really interesting for our lives. Our thoughts and emotions also carry frequencies.
So my thoughts are directly affecting my vibration, which means the emotional states that we live in, like fear, stress, love, gratitude, or joy, they all have different frequencies.
Absolutely. And our bodies are incredibly sensitive instruments, constantly responding to those frequencies. When we experience emotions like love, gratitude, or compassion, our nervous system moves into a coherent state. And our heart rhythm stabilizes, our brain waves become more synchronized, and our nervous system regulates, which we talked about in the last episode.
Yeah, so I actually want to talk about how important it is to let go of self-limiting beliefs, because when we're living in that anger, stress, or fear, I mean, the body just shifts into a completely different state.
Yeah. Our nervous system goes into survival mode. Stress hormones increase. Our thinking becomes reactive instead of creative. And that state influences how we think, the decisions we make, and the opportunities we notice in the world.
So this kind of reminds me, like, this is when people are talking about like attracts like. I guess, yeah, could you say that that's the law of attraction?
Absolutely. And while that phrase can sound mystical, there's actually a scientific explanation for it. In physics, when two vibrating systems interact, the systems with compatible frequencies tend to synchronize, and this is called resonance. So when you're vibrating at a specific frequency, you attract people, situations, and experiences in your life that match that frequency.
Yep. I love tuning forks, which I feel like we should bring them on to a couple of the episodes. But so would you say that this is like when you have one tuning fork that's vibrating, the one next to it will at the same, or actually, what is that? How does that work again?
Yes,
because
exactly.
I love tuning forks. Do you have to hit it for them to then match?
If you strike one tuning fork, another tuning fork tuned to the same frequency will begin to vibrate as well. And human beings operate in a very similar way.
So then that explains that when you're living in this positive, elevated state, that things will just seem to flow to you. Like I always say, when I'm at my highest vibrational frequency, things flow to me easily and effortlessly. People are drawn to that. Opportunities just appear, what feels like out of nowhere, but it's because I'm at that elevated vibration.
This is so true. But when someone is stuck in fear, scarcity, or negativity, they often attract experiences that reinforce that emotional state. Now, part of this is energetic, but part of it is psychological. Because when you believe something is possible, your brain literally filters information differently. Your mind begins noticing opportunities you would have ignored before.
So that reminds me, I've talked about this a lot in some of my videos, the RAS, the Reticular Activating System. So it's the part of your brain that filters information, or filters to the things that you deem to be true. Okay, so the example that I like to use is this red car, but let's say red Ferrari theory. So let's say that I've identified that I want to purchase a red Ferrari. I start to see that car everywhere because I'm trying to prove to myself that I need that red Ferrari. So your vibration is directly influencing your nervous system, your perception, and your decisions.
Exactly. Your internal state becomes the lens through which you experience reality.
And let the record show that Heather and I will have our red Ferraris someday.
That's right.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if I want red.
I'll take red, white, black.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I'll take whatever. But so going off of that, I always say that raising your vibration literally makes you hot. And not to brag, but I am told all the time that I'm glowing and people can feel my energy. And I think it's because of how much I've been able to raise my vibration and my frequency.
It most definitely is. Raising your vibration is also anti-aging. So when your nervous system is regulated and you're consistently living in elevated emotions, your body shifts into a state of repair. Your inflammation drops, your mitochondria produce more energy, and your cells repair themselves more efficiently. Even DNA damage is reduced, and your body is constantly rebuilding itself. Every cell is being replaced over time, but the speed and quality of that rebuilding depends entirely on your biological state. So when you're stressed and dysregulated, repair slows down and aging accelerates. But when you're coherent and regulated, your body literally regenerates more efficiently.
I'm like, so you're saying that chronic stress makes me ugly? No. So you're saying that it isn't just making you anxious, it's also making you age faster.
Yes. And the reverse is also true. When people who live in a high energy, coherent emotional state, they often look younger because their bodies are regenerating more efficiently.
So being at a high vibration is literally, it can slow down aging and make you hotter. Or if you're not at a high vibration, that can make you uglier. I know we've talked about this before, but for me, right, like I've been able to raise my frequency. I feel like I'm, glowing. I feel hotter. I feel better, all the things. But weren't you saying that there's a way to actually be able to measure that?
Yes, actually, there's a doctor, Dr. Hawkins, created the map of consciousness, and he measured certain emotional states and measured the different frequencies that you're vibrating at when you're feeling those emotions. So when people talk about high vibration or low vibration, this map actually gives a framework for understanding what that means. And Hawkins created a scale from 1 to 1,000. And at the lower levels, you find emotions like shame, guilt, fear, grief, and anger.
Makes sense.
And these emotional states tend to contract the body and drain energy and create stress in the nervous system. But as you move up the scale, the emotional state shifts to courage, acceptance, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. And these correspond to a higher vibrational state. And it's interesting because the tipping point of the scale is at 200 hertz, which is courage. Below 200, emotions tend to drain life energy, and above 200, emotions begin to enhance life energy.
So I just love that, because the way that I think about it is that if you're just at your lowest, all you have to do to get past that is to just have a little bit of courage.
Yeah. Yes, this is true. And you don't just jump from shame straight to enlightenment. You climb the scale. From anger, you might move to courage, from courage to willingness, and from willingness to acceptance, and eventually to love, joy, and peace.
I know. I just love this because It's so true. I feel like the first step for so many of us is to just have that courage. I always say, like, you're one decision away from having a completely different life, or all it takes is just that first step. Everything you want is on the other side of a little bit of discomfort. So, in that whole process, though, I mean, it just makes sense how we can change and elevate our emotions and like almost climb this ladder of emotions, I guess you could say.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for anyone listening right now who wants to raise their vibration, or, for those of you who are feeling really low, really down, or for those who are maybe past the 200 hertz point and want to continue to ascend, what is the simplest place to start?
Well, the first step is awareness.
Mm,
Just begin noticing the emotional states you spend most of your time in. Are you living mostly in stress and fear, or in gratitude and possibility? Then you begin shifting. And some powerful practices include gratitude, writing what you're grateful for in a daily journal,
mm-hmm,
meditation, breath work, visualization, acts of kindness,
mm-hmm.
spending time in nature, and surrounding yourself with inspiring people.
Yeah.
Even something as simple as appreciation can move you up the emotional scale, because appreciation sits very close to the frequency of love.
What I like about this is that, I mean, a lot of the things we're saying, it's nothing like revolutionary, right? But it is just reinforcing because again, it can be really simple to do these things. We don't want, the thought of raising your vibration to be this complicated thing. It is in fact quite simple. And like you said, just feeling appreciation can truly start to change your emotional state.
Yeah.
So I love that. So step one, we're becoming aware of what you're feeling. Like
Yeah.
that is step one. Great. Step two, take action. And then three, it's to continue to live in those elevated emotions and to keep following those steps over and over. Easy enough.
Yeah. Continuing to live in those elevated emotions and continuing your practices.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay not to feel good all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I definitely want to reiterate is that I don't want to come on here and say that you have to feel amazing and to feel ecstasy and bliss all the time. So when we say to repeat these steps over and over again, it's because inevitably you're going to feel things, you're going to feel low. But the way that we can continue to overcome that and to elevate is to just recognize and take the steps to feel better.
Yeah, it's true. I want to add that another major factor that affects our vibration is unresolved trauma and
Mhm.
limiting belief systems.
Yeah.
When we hold on to those painful experiences, those emotions don't just stay in the mind, they can actually become stored in the body. And over time, this can show up as chronic tension, stress, or even physical illness.
So then it's kind of like the saying, when you're at disease, that is disease. That's to quote our king, Dr. Joe.
Yeah.
So then just to reiterate again, you're saying that a high vibration is not just done by positive thinking alone.
Yes, this is true. It's also about releasing what's weighing you down. And there's this great analogy that I heard from Aaron Dowdy, and it explains that in our natural state, we are high vibrational beings, and it's like a cork bobbing at the top of the ocean in your naturally high elevated vibrational state. And it's those traumas and limiting beliefs in our life that weigh us down and push that cork down below the ocean's surface. And so what we need to do to get back to the top of the service is to release and let go of those limiting beliefs and traumas, and to get back to our naturally elevated state. And there's practices like somatic work, breath work, meditation, massage, and movement that can help your body process and release stored emotional energy.
Yeah.
Spending time in nature can also help regulate the nervous system, and practicing gratitude shifts your brain chemistry also. And of course, cultivating love and compassion changes the way your body and brain communicate. Another really important practice is surrender. Learning.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Yeah, learning to release control and trust the unfolding of life. Resistance creates contraction in the body and mind, but acceptance allows flow.
That resistance too, it's almost like Like I'm visualizing this cork just being shoved down, right? Because we've all been there. We've all been that cork that is underwater. It feels heavy. It feels like we're drowning. And instead of trying to just, get our way back to the top, part of that process is just surrendering, letting go. And that will just open itself up. So all that being said, we've all been that cork under the water, deep and just feeling so much pressure. I think surrendering is such a, I don't want to say forgotten part of that, but I feel like it's overlooked sometimes. So what are your thoughts, I guess, on surrendering?
I mean, surrender is one of the most important parts of life. It's like swimming with the stream of life instead of against the current. And if you're constantly swimming against the current, you're just fighting. You're fighting life instead of going with the flow. And the more you go with the flow, the easier life gets. And more opportunities come into your life.
I mean, thinking about like you and your situation with your home last year, right? Talk about, you could have tried to swim against the current, but you went with the flow, and look at your life now. So is that something you'd be comfortable talking about really quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It was a huge process of letting go, because everything that I owned and held close to my heart was in that home. I lost both of my parents, so I had every heirloom photo album, my grandmother's ring, china, baby books. I mean, every video and photo of me growing up. So it's a lot of letting go, but it's a process of letting go. But during that letting go process, you do have to surrender and say, okay, this is where I am right now, because it couldn't be any other way. This is what happened, and I can't change it. And just knowing that those things still live inside of me gives me comfort. And I also, you also have to find gratitude in situations like that, because that's really what can lift your vibration in such a hard time. And having gratitude that I'm still alive and my children are still alive, and gratitude that I now get to build a brand new, beautiful home, which I'm very excited about. So it's finding the positives in really dark, difficult hardships in your life that are so important. And that's what being in the flow of life is about, and surrendering to what is.
Because when you mentioned surrender, that's immediately what I was thinking of. Like, I've never seen someone practice what they preach so wholeheartedly. And I know you were sad during that time, but the way that you handled that was like a masterclass on holding like an elevated energy. Like, you had so much gratitude for the things that you did have, and how you knew you're like, we're going to rebuild. We're going to be fine. And now look, like, you're doing exactly that. So I did just want to.
And it's okay also to feel those emotions of grief and sadness, because you don't want to store those emotions in your body. And I cried every day for 3 months, but it's all about the release and release and letting go.
And that's how your cork got back up to the top of the surface. Wow. So thank you for sharing that, because I do think that's a really, you went through a lot, but look at you now. So as we close out this episode, I want to ask you, what's the one thing that you want people to remember from this conversation?
Well, when enough individuals raise their vibration, it doesn't just change their own lives, but it elevates everyone and the collective consciousness.
Chills every time. I'm like, am I going to cry? Am I filled with joy? That's so powerful. And that can literally heal the world. And we need that now more than ever.
Amen.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, leave us a 5-star rating, and we'll be releasing episodes every Wednesday. See you then.